December, and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Hope you're doing very well. It's that time again. It's the time where I shove myself in front of my Christmas tree. This year, it's real. So normally we've got a white Christmas tree here. David and I have taken the plunge and got a real Christmas tree this year. It's absolutely, it's just massive. It's so big, but we are absolutely thrilled with it. I've always sort of maintained that the white Christmas tree we had before, I was like, no, none of our lights or ornaments will show up as nice on a real Christmas tree or a green Christmas tree. Consider me wrong, because I'm delighted with it. It looks brilliant, and Duffy hasn't been interested in it really, so that's good. But here we are today to talk about my reading for the month of December. So treat this, my friends, as your Christmas TBR. Books that are related to Christmas, and Christmassy books that I will be reading in the month of December. She says, lol, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 books, and like, I ain't reading a Christmas book past Boxing Day, so these aren't all getting read, but there's a lot here to get through. I will start with the 2 books that I've already started and I'm having a lovely time with, and I'm also going to start with the books that I haven't mentioned before, because some of these will be rollovers from last year that I didn't get read in time last year. Forgive my frizzy hair, I've just been down the beach. It's very, very frizzy. So the book I am currently reading is The Bookseller's Gift by Felicity Hayes McCoy. I'm very much enjoying this. I'm like 200 odd pages in. It really reminds me of a sort of like Maeve Binchy community vibes, and it's got sort of like all the things I could possibly love in a book. Christmas, a bookshop, book selling, a celebrity chef, cookery courses, food references, and it's all just very cosy and very twee, set in an Irish village. We're hearing about different members of the community and their sort of lives and maybe how they might link in with one another, and there's a little romance story here, and then there's like a little story about a man and his dog, and yeah, lots and lots of stuff to love in here. And yeah, I'd never heard of it. It only got published this year, and it's an Irish book published by Hachette Island. And what I love about Irish publishers is that they're all big floppy paperbacks instead of hardbacks, which is a lovely treat. So yeah, would highly recommend. I'm having a lovely time with it already. And from one Irish town to another, I'm also reading Niall Williams's The Time of the Child. I'm not that far into it, about 20 pages. And I mean, the front cover doesn't scream Christmas, does it? But it's set in the run up to Christmas, and we're following the character Dr. Jack Troy, who has been born and living in Farha, which is the town that we're here. And this is in the Advent season of 1962, and it's about Dr. Troy and his daughter Ronnie, and I think there's a child that comes to an abandoned baby is left in their care. So I haven't got that far at all. We're just sort of like, they're in church at the moment and we're hearing a little bit about the people in the village. What I really should do, because I started this in like, oh, I'm really excited to start as many Christmas books as I can because I've been off this week. But really, 2 Irish, and they're sort of told very differently. This is much more literary and this is much more sort of like pick up and go with it. But like 2 Irish small villages with lots of different people all coming together on the run up to Christmas. I should be separating these. So I'm going to finish this and then continue with this. So those are the books. Now, what I've done is I've ordered from bookshop.org the new Caroline Duffy poetry book. She brings out a new one every single year. I'll insert a picture of it here. I think it's called These Three Wise Men, and I pre-ordered it and it still hasn't got here. I keep checking and it says it's out for dispatch, so I was hoping it would be here by the time I filmed this, because that's normally the first book that I like to read on the 1st of December. So I'm really hoping it will be here tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's Sunday, I ain't coming tomorrow, so I'll have to read that at some point later on. The annoying thing is that I've been to 2 independent bookshops this week and it's been in both of them. So I could have bought it in either of those. But never mind, she'll read it when it gets here. So that will be one of the first books that I read. And then let's move on to the other books that I've got. So let's talk about the book club book. So the book club book that we're going to be reading for Patreon Book Club this month is a Christmas themed book. It's Gifts by Laura Barnett. This was David's pick and it won. It is sort of like interconnected short stories about people and the gifts they're buying for one another. So you're hearing about, for example, Peter, who doesn't have a clue what to get for his teenage daughter Chloe. He worries that he really doesn't know her at all, and then you hear about Chloe wanting to buy something special for her grandmother, and that sort of like leads on to the next story. So that's what we're reading for book club. I think it sounds really, really fun, and also like I love presents, buying and receiving them. The book that didn't, I'm sort of jetting all over the place here, but the book that didn't win the vote was my pick, which was The Christmas Wish-Tastrophe by Carrie Ann Lloyd, illustrated by Marpay. And this is a sort of middle grade book set in sort of Jane Austen times. It's about Lydia Marmalade, who arrives at Lady Partridge's house with her sausage dog called Colin. It's about her sort of like trying to fit in there. It's set in the run up to Christmas. I think it's going to be sort of lovely and Christmassy. It's also got like a little a mischievous winter sprite. That must be who this is. So yeah, that sounds like a sort of sit down and read it in one afternoon, which I may do. I may well do it. Then I've got quite a few books out from the library of sort of like the same theme-ish. That theme-ish is romance. So I've got Under the Mistletoe with You by Lizzie Huxley-Jones. I read a Lizzie Huxley-Jones Christmas book a couple of years ago called Make You Mine This Christmas, which I very much enjoyed. I'm gonna have a big gulp of water because I've been doing a lot of talking. That's nice. And this is about two guys getting together, ready for a long Christmas break away from his little bakery. Yum. Christopher has now closed up shop and found someone to stay in his flat over the festive period. Everything is under control. That is until the mischievous person renting his home turns out to be Nash Nadeau, an actor, the star of all Christopher's favourite Christmas movies. The guy he's been crushing on for a whole year, and it turns out a typically rude celebrity. A snowstorm happens. They have to stay living in the same house. Classic. Then I've got Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring-Brake. Love this front cover because that green is lovely, and then love both of these Christmassy outfits. And this was about Charlotte Donovan, who 5 years ago she was ditched at the altar, and now she's doing more than okay. Sure, her mother never checks in, but she has her band, the Rosalind Quartet, and her life in New York is a dream come true. As the holidays draw near, her ensemble mate Sloane persuades the quartet to spend Christmas with her family in Colorado for some festive peace. But when Charlotte arrives, she discovers an unexpected gift, none other than her ex-fiancé Brighton. There we go. And Brighton wanted to have the holliest, jolliest Christmas. Instead, she's stuck pretending she and Charlotte are strangers. There we go. Love all the queer romance out of this time. Speaking of that, The Merriest Misters by Timothy Janowski. Sounds great again. Patrick Hargrave and Quinn Muller, they've all got such great names, have been married for less than a year, but their passionate romance is cracking under the pressure of domestic life. That's until Christmas Eve, when Patrick wakes Quinn up with, "I think I've killed a man." Oh my God. Oh, and Patrick knocked out a burglar, and it turns out to be Mr. Claus himself. The couple soon find themselves looped in by a harried elf to red suit up and save Christmas. That's not where I was expecting it to go. And then I've also, more queerness. Make My Wish Come True by Rachel Lippincott and Alison Derrick. Another queer. Arden James, who's the Hollywood's hottest teen actor. This is a young adult book. Wants to land her dream role, but it requires a fake girlfriend in her Christmas-obsessed hometown. There's always a Christmas-obsessed hometown, isn't there? And then lastly, I've got this, which I think is sort of middle grade, The Biggest Christmas Secret Ever by L.D. Lipinski. It's about Harper and Will, whose stepdad Nick makes Christmas very magical and very special. And he has got a very special and very secret job. Have you seen his beard? That man, I think, is going to be Santa Claus. Christmas Claus, I almost said. And then, I mean, there's more. So I'll stop that. No. One more library book I've got, and me and my niece have already been using this. This is a drawing book, Draw with Christmas. Draw with Art for Kids Hub Christmas, and we've been making some lovely things out of this. It's all set out in really, really nice steps. So I would draw, well, I normally got her to draw the first thing, and then I'd add the bits, and then she'd do that, and we'd sort of gain confidence the more we did it. It's really lovely, and she loves drawing, and it's really nice. Like, she was really proud of what we'd achieved and was sort of like showing everyone. Can I find one? Because I really would like to show you. This one. This is a rabbit at the North Pole. I mean, cute, isn't it? We did this one, which is a penguin. I'll let you know. I'll give you a guess who did those eyes. It wasn't me. We did this one, a cat in a stocking. Yeah, so it's really, really easy steps to follow, and we had a great time doing it. So I would highly recommend. See if I can find you one more. Yeah, here we go. And we did this one. No man. So yeah, we had a great time. That is Draw with Art for Kids Hub Christmas. 30 step-by-step drawing projects in there. Had a great time. Then, well, let's carry on with the queerness. So we've got Look Up Handsome by Jack Strange. This was also mentioned when Philippa and I did our the Christmas episode of Quick Book Reviews recently. She is reading this while she's away at Hay-on-Wye at the moment. And this is set in Hay-on-Wye's only queer bookshop. It's always a hive of activity there. So when it's threatened with closure, owner Quinn, another Quinn, is determined to do whatever it takes to save his beloved shop. That is until romantic novelist Noah Sage arrives in town, gorgeous, brooding and clearly unhappy to be there. Noah is the distraction Quinn doesn't need. So yeah, love this sort of stuff. Then I've got more. Let's carry on with what we haven't discussed before. I mean, obviously, I'm very excited to read The Christmas Tree Farm. The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. Excuse me. That is the... Oh, Daphne's very cross about that. This is the third in the Dream Harbour series, but you absolutely do not need to have read the other two, I'm sure, to get on with this. It just follows Dream Harbour, which is a small town in very seasonal, cutesy town in America, and we're following sort of like the different business owners. So the first two books I've read so far have been the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and the Cinnamon Bun Bookshop. So you follow the owners of those businesses and then them sort of like... It's romance. You all right, David?
Yeah.
What was that?
Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. It's just mayonnaise. And then yeah, it did sound a bit like breathing. And then them sort of getting together with somebody who is local in the town and like all of that sort of stuff. So this is set in the Christmas Tree Farm, and it's about Kira North, who, despite owning the Christmas Tree Farm, hates Christmas, and it sounds as though she's going to get together with one of the brothers of somebody who we've previously met. So yeah, like I said, you don't need to know what's going on, but they're just super fun and readable, and I really like the fact that they come with a Christmas playlist at the beginning, which I'm going to be listening to, because a lot of these I've never even heard of. So for example, I've never listened to A Nonsense Christmas by Sabrina Carpenter. Excited about that. And yeah, it sounds like there's going to be lots of lovely Christmassy things in there. And then I've got A Concert for Christmas by Helen Hawkins. David and I are in a choir, so this was very well received. And the publisher sent me this, and this is about Sophie Lawson, who has fled to the Cotswold countryside after a tragic breakup and is throwing herself into dating, a new school and organising Cranswell's annual Christmas concert. There we go. There's been the arrival of a handsome but surly musical director has put things into jeopardy, so that's that. Very fun. Then I've got Elle McNichol's new book, Some Like It Cold. She came back to say goodbye, not to fall in love. I might listen to the audiobook of this. I've got the audiobook of this out on BorrowBox at the moment, so I think maybe that's where I might go with this. I've read... What have I read by Elle McNichol before, which I really enjoyed? There's no list of Elle McNichol's books in here. It was a middle grade book about a girl with autism, I'm sure. Is that going to tell me? A Kind of Spark, that's what I've read. But yeah, this is about Jasper, who's heading home for the holidays. He's 18. And Arthur, a budding filmmaker and a long-time thorn in Jasper's side, is looking for a story worthy of the big screen, and the return of the small-town golden girl could be just the one he's been searching for. But Jasper is back for just one reason, to say goodbye. And before long, tensions begin to rise, and a certain brooding film buff starts to look like a very big reason to stay. So yeah, but like I said, I might listen to the audiobook of that. Then I've got one that I bought in a bookshop this week, on my birthday in fact, which is Brightly Shining by Ingvig Roshoy. Bought it in store 104 in Rochester. And this is, I don't know if this is translated because it's set in, it is, translated by Caroline Waite from Norwegian. And this is about the run-up to Christmas, and Ronja and Melissa's father is out of work, and Ronja finds out about this job selling Christmas trees, and she puts her father forward for it, and like, it starts off really, really well. The fridge fills with food, he comes home, he's happy, but then the local pub has the irresistible pull that it does for him, and he ends up sort of going back into his alcoholism, and the two young girls decide to take his place working at the Christmas tree stand, as well as working, like, as well as going to school and being children. So yeah, it says small in stature, but with an outsized impact on the reader. Brightly Shining has all the markings of a magical modern classic. Yeah, I thought it sounded lovely. Oh, I've got another little bookmark in there. They gave me 2 bookmarks. Lovely. Then I've got A French Christmas. This was sent to me by the publisher. I've read a few of these. Last year I read a Ukrainian Christmas. I've lent that to my mum. And yeah, I've read a few of these over the years. But yeah, I quite like them. They're sort of like compilations of little Christmassy stories that are from that particular country, and then maybe little insights into what their traditions are and stuff like that. Yeah, it says sparkling Parisian streets, opulent feasts, wandering orphans, kindly monks, oysters, bonbons, flickering desires, and more than a little wine. This collection of stories proves that the French have truly mastered Christmas. There we go. So it's got classics by Guy de Maupassant and Alphonse Daudet. Yeah, I think it's going to be lovely. Lovely, lovely. Right. I think now all of the rest are ones that I have included before, so you might want to sit through it because Christmas vibes and my tree looks lovely, but if not, that's all the new stuff. Obviously, David and I at some point will be reading The Jolly Christmas Postman to one another. I've already read this year to my niece, but we normally read it aloud to each other on Christmas Eve because we are just that adorable. Last year, I think Philippa got me this, Murder on the Christmas Express, 18 Passengers, 7 Stops, 1 Killer by Alexandra Benedict, sorry. And this is set on the early hours of Christmas Eve. The sleeper train to the Highlands is derailed along with the festive plans of its travellers. I mean, it does sound great, but that is only the beginning of their problems. When the body of one of the passengers is discovered in the lock room of her cabin, no one's locked in a cabinet, all the evidence points to murder. With the train stuck in the snow in the middle of nowhere, it's up to former Met Detective Roz Parker to find the killer before they strike again. So there we go. Then I've got this, which I definitely had last year and I didn't get ready to read in it. And this is now part of the series. It smells like my storage unit where I keep my books. I think there's 3 in this series now, so I would like to at least chip into this. A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. Yeah, it's set on the set of a Christmas movie. I think it's pretty spicy from what I remember people saying to me before. Then I've also got, coming from down here, Pride and Prejudice and Mistletoe by Melissa de la Cruz. Christmas is coming to Pemberley. And it's about Darcy Fitzwilliam. I love it when they sort of like rebrand these characters. Darcy Fitzwilliam simply doesn't have time to fall in love, but this Christmas, a kiss under the mistletoe will change everything. Then we've got The Long Shadow by Celia Fremlin. Welcome to the Nightmare Christmas Holiday. I quite like this front cover. And it says here, jolted from sleep by the ringing of the telephone, Imogen stumbles through the dark, empty house to answer it. At first, she can't quite understand the man on the other end of the line. Surely he can't honestly be accusing her of killing her husband, Ivor, who died in a car crash barely 2 months ago. As the night draws in, Imogen finds her home filling up with unexpected Christmas guests, who may be looking for more than a simple festive cheer. Has someone been rifling through Ivor's paper? Who left the half-drunk whiskey bottle beside his favourite chair? And why won't that man stop calling, insisting he can prove Imogen's guilt? Sounds good, doesn't it? And then I've also got the BK Borison Christmas book that is also part of a series. This is Love Light Farms. This is set on a Christmas tree farm. I think it's similar in that, yeah, there's like a Insta famous influencer, and yeah, there's sort of like fake dating going on in here. Christmas at the Palace, Giovanni Sciarica. Snuggle up with this perfect Christmas romance as one ordinary girl learns what it means to love a prince. Then I've got The Little Library Christmas by Kate Young, and this features some sort of like Christmassy recipes from different books, and yeah, it's got some lovely Christmas photography in there. That tree, that makes me feel lovely, and then I remember my tree is also lovely. Yeah, and sort of like little excerpts from Christmas parts of books, so like the Christmas dinner in Little Women and stuff like that. And yeah, 50 delicious recipes to take you through the festive season, inspired by the Little Library Cook's favourite Christmas reads. Lovely. I need to get around to reading that. And then I've got Carol Ann Duffy's. There's been a terrible thing that's happened. I know it's Christmas and I need to start being positive, but I've lost all of my Carol Ann Duffy books. Now I do have this anthology. I did not throw away my Carol Ann Duffy books. I've got lots of little, you'll know them, little tiny books that are about this size, little hardbacks, and Carol Ann Duffy brings out a new one every year. My favourite of all of them is Another Night Before Christmas, which unfortunately is in this book. But I don't know where the rest of them are gone. So I'm very upset about that, but at least I can hold this to my heart and know that I've got some of them, but God knows where the rest of them have gone. I need to keep looking for them. And then the last 3, oh, well, there's more poetry. Christmas Poems by Wendy Cope. Now, this was on the pile to go away, because I remember reading it, but not being, like, enamoured by it. Well, this year I read Wendy Cope's book, Wendy Cope's poetry book, which has got a big orange on the front, but I can't think what it's called. What do you think a poetry book with a big orange on the front could be called? Well, it's called The Orange. And that was by Wendy Cope, and I was like, oh, I'm sure I've got a Christmas poetry book by her, so I will hang on to that. Maybe this will be the first book I read on the 1st of December. Then I've got Brian Bilson's And So This Is Christmas, 51 seasonally adjusted poems. Got this last year, really enjoyed it. Will enjoy it again. And then lastly, what a number to end on. I've got Quiz Actually, the Festive Family Film Trivia book by Joe Schumann. And it's got a list of a number of Christmas films. I would say about 20. And then you would just pick a film and then you can just ask the question. So for instance, I've gone for Die Hard here. Here we go. Let's see if you can get these questions right. David, Oh.
Hold on. Yeah.
This is a question about Die Hard.
All right.
What is the name of the company that Holly McClane works for?
Oh, I don't know. That's just backfired.
It's Nakatomi Corporation.
Oh, I think it was the Nakatomi building, but I didn't realise that was who she worked for.
How does John McClane respond when the police supervisor tells him the line is for emergency calls only?
This is an emergency?
I'm dying hard here.
Oh.
What is McClane's famous response to the thieves' boss Hans Gruber's taunting? You do know this.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, there we go. And that's just one. There's all sorts of films in there that you could... Would you like to pick one more and I'll ask you questions on it?
Yes. Muppets.
Let's see if Muppets Christmas Carol is in here. Yes, 169. See if David gets the question right. Which Muppet serves as the narrator named Dickens in the movie?
Gonzo.
With an empty heart and we'll be built together every
yes?
Yeah. Girl and boy will be nephew and niece to me. There we go. So those are my Christmas books that I plan to read in the month of December. I've got to pop them all back in the old trolley now, haven't I? Let me know what books you're reading in December. Let me know if you've read any of these, if any of these are on your December TBR. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy 1st of December. No Vlogmas this year. She slipped it in at the end. But I'll see you all again soon for another Christmas video. Goodbye.